There are handicap exits at the back of the building here, and then to my right, if there's a problem in the building, please do not use the elevator, use the stairs. If you need help, just ask one of the commissioners and we'll help you out. First order of business we have tonight is the approval of minutes from February 3rd. You should have gotten a copy with the agenda. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept them as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion on the floor by Bob, second by Rick, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Abstention? I wasn't
One
here
abstention.
for that meeting.
Two abstentions. Bob, did you vote yes or no?
I voted yes.
Okay, so the motion carries.
You only need a majority of the people here. You don't need a quorum for that vote.
Oh, okay. As a matter of fact, Bob, why don't we start off with commission members starting to my right?
Bob Moonstra, good evening.
Grace Reisdorf.
Rick Metz.
Bob Spurl.
Eileen Chabot, good evening.
Elizabeth Carver, good evening.
And I'm the chair, Rick Bazaga. Folks, this is, Liz Carver is not a commissioner. She is our newly hired land manager. She's going to be sitting on this side of the podium. We'll be interacting with her throughout the night, so welcome, Liz. Beth, welcome, Beth. Sorry. Okay, first order of business is site plan review. It's going to be with Promised Land Survey. If you could come up, state your name, give out the plans and things like that. And folks, silence your cell phones, please, if you haven't already done that. Brandon, hold on one second. Try it again.
There's a little button underneath.
Is the light on?
I think you just try this one. No,
Yeah,
just
you got this one now.
Oh, there we go. All right, my name is Brandon Wing from Promised Land Survey out of Derry. Here presenting Comos Beach Redevelopment LLC minor subdivision on Beaver Lake Ave. Can I hand out the plan?
Yeah, please, yeah. And is that the plan we have on the screen here, too?
It is.
Yep.
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You and I can share. Okay. You only got 5, Brandon? That's fine. Yes. I've looked at it and driven out there. I went to the TRC.
Thanks so much.
He's gonna talk.
Okay, Brandon, walk us through it.
All right. There's it's the intent is fairly straightforward. Looking to subdivide, do a 2-lot subdivision on Beaver Lake Ave. The issue that might be of concern to the Conservation Commission is the existing beach house is to be raised. That's in close proximity to Beaver Lake itself. You can access it with equipment without impacting wetlands, and that's our intent, is to have 0 wetland impact, no dredge, no fill.
Brandon, you okay with taking questions along the way?
Of course, yeah.
How far, when you say it's close, how close is it?
I'm gonna assume it's less than 30 feet to the reference line. In the reference line, I put on there via elevation, which is what the shoreline program, NHDES shoreline program defines as a rear boundary of a parcel.
So the reference line is like the high water mark, is that what it is?
Essentially, it is essentially, but it's an elevation above sea level assigned to a lake.
And you say you think it's 30 feet?
It's approximately 30 feet, yeah. The existing building, you mean? Yes.
Okay, thanks.
The gravel access, as you look at it, I'm supposed to go full screen for the viewers at home, but I don't find a mouse. Oh, you did? All right, thank you. There's an existing gravel access to homes that front on the lake. You can see on the westerly lot. There's an understood easement. We're going to clean that up with some documents, record an instrument to define that easement a little better. This development proposes no, it proposes improvement to that road, but it will not impede access to the existing landowners on the lake. I don't know what else you'd like to know. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has, though.
I'll start things off. So what is this structure up on the corner here that's, I guess, the,
Existing house.
Structure on the what? I'm sorry.
so the, up in the corner here,
Existing beach house to be raised, you mean? Are you
no,
on
way up at the road.
It's lot 85. It's already-
Southeast lot, that's excluded.
Map 51, lot 85, that's in a butter.
Josephine Fana.
So is that lot line existing? That's an
Yes.
existing lot line?
Yes,
Okay. So the only lot line you're proposing is the one that cuts them right down the middle there?
correct. Up near the lake, there's a label that says proposed fence.
Right.
That line heading south is the proposed lot line.
Is it actually a fence?
There is a fence out there, but it doesn't go where I show proposed fence. There's a 6-foot chain link fence you can see slightly to the south of that. South of the 50-foot waterfront buffer, that 6-foot chain link fence exists. And there's there's a beach right there. There's an existing beach, and that chain link fence goes around that.
And there's no AOT,
No AOT, no.
and there's no wetland impact?
No wetland impact, no. Not proposed at this time, and I don't foresee any impact with this development. Stayed away. The only thing that's close is removal of that beach house, which is necessary. You'll see on your site walk.
There was a question at the TRC. Is that on a slab, do you know, or is it on
I think it's on a
pillars?
slab.
Okay.
There's concrete around the outside of the building, so I don't think it's not on
Stilts.
stilts as far as I know. It's on the ground. I don't know what it's built on actually, but it's on the ground.
Okay.
Brendan, any drainage in the actual, like the drive, was there a swale or anything on each side of the driveway? No closed drainage, right?
No closed drainage, and the grade pitches off the road pretty good and for both proposed lots. So there's no existing ditch lines that we would have to connect. We wouldn't have to put a culvert under the.
And you're not adding swales or anything like that?
No, I hadn't planned on it because there's no existing ditches along the roads.
And you're tying into town sewer on this project,
Yes.
both houses?
Yep.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman? On the existing beach house to be raised, the first one that's on the left-hand side,
Yep.
I'm just wondering why because it looks like the wetlands line, the wetlands boundary is rather close, especially in what looks to be the front of the house. And one corner of the house, why isn't there any proposed silt fence around that to protect the wetland there?
I can add that. I can add that to the plan
Okay.
easily, yep.
Okay. Because I think that's needed in order to really, fulfill the no wetland impact proposed.
Correct.
If-
The reason I hadn't added it before now is
Yeah.
because it has only recently been a decision to raise that. It was gonna just kind of be left alone prior to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, given the change, I think it's appropriate that
I
you put
agree, and
some
I'll add
fence
that.
around it. Thank you.
So, looking at it, am I correct that the drainage is coming from the road, drains through a little channel, goes into a bigger wetland area, and then drains out across the beach?
Are you talking about the topography of the lot?
Yeah,
It does. It's sloped pretty significantly away from Jenny Dickey Hill Road, which I've been corrected on the road name. It's actually Jenny Dickey Hill Road, so I'll be making that change as well.
so the outlet to that flow, though, is over the beach into the pond?
It is. There's a significant woodland buffer, though. It's not open, and there's no drainage, man-made drainage at this point. It's just sloped woods. And I might add that we are having a civil engineer do a drainage report on this for engineering, town engineering as well, to prove runoff, or prove no runoff, rather.
Anything else from the commission?
One other comment. On the drainage in between the two homes, you have 24-inch CMP with head wall, and you show the drainage going down into an 18-inch CMP into the wetland. Is that existing drainage going to stay there? And could you describe that for us? What is it? Is it a ditch, or what exactly is it?
I'm sorry, where are you looking?
In between the two, okay, to the right of the existing beach house to be raised, that's on the left, right to the right of that house, you have a drainage.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, that's
Yeah.
to remain.
Is that to
uh,
remain? Is it underground? Is it a
It is
stream? What is
underground.
it?
There's not much cover on it,
Okay,
but it is existing. To upgrade that at all would be a dredge and fill permit.
so you're
which
not
we're trying to
planning to
avoid.
make any improvements to it or
We'd
any
rather
changes?
not, because it's working.
Where's the water get picked up from that? Like, what's feeding that drainage?
This wetland, there's a significant wetland right down through the middle of the lot.
So is there a head wall on the wetland side too? Or is it just an open pipe?
I believe it's just an open pipe.
We'll be able to see that when we do the site walk?
Depending on snow cover, I would imagine so. I'm not sure.
Okay. Anything else from the commissioners? So this, just to speak a little bit on this project, I was contacted by Promised Land Survey, asked if they basically said there is no impact. So whether or not we have jurisdiction on this project was probably somewhat questionable. I asked the folks at planning if our new TRC representative could join at the TRC meeting, and Mr. Metz was at the TRC meeting with the other department heads. And I told the applicant's engineer that after Mr. Metz attended that meeting, we decided whether or not we wanted to take it. And Mr. Metz said that we definitely need to take a look at it. So that's how this is happening. I think the way that we've structured this TRC subcommittee with Mr. Metz and myself attending the TRC meetings are going to make this process probably work a little bit better than being completely surprised when a project comes here. So I, at least, and Mr. Metz have gotten a chance to see these plans a couple of times already. So we are going to do a site walk, and I'd like to do it. I'd like, moving forward, if it's good with the commissioners, I'd like to try to do site walks on Mondays, on maybe the Mondays that we don't have a meeting. I don't want to infringe on doing site walks on the weekends if we don't have to. I feel like I never really liked doing the weekend site walks because I try to reserve that time with my family. So is anyone or everyone available next Monday at any time to do a site walk on this project?
Yeah, I can.
yeses?
I would prefer like the afternoon. Monday mornings are sometimes busy for me.
Okay. How's Monday afternoon for you guys? Yeah?
All day.
Bob, you, any availability on Monday for
Oh,
you?
we still have daylight, of course.
How was it
I
today,
think-
Brandon?
I think, do we have
cold
daylight
today.
savings like
We
real
have that
soon?
coming up, yeah.
Is it by next Monday?
What?
It's this weekend, right? Yeah, so next Monday we have daylight till like 7.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
The later the better for me, because I'm coming down from Concord. so-
Okay, so why don't we work around your schedule, Bob? What's a good time for you?
Probably do 4 anyways.
Oh, that's fine.
How's 4 look for everybody? 4? Yes?
4 o'clock?
4 good for you?
Perfect.
All right, cool. So 4 o'clock Monday. Do we need any flagging there, Brendan?
I will have some.
You'll have some?
Oh, what do
Okay.
you, what do you mean, for what?
Like, what are you going to have flagged? Like, I'd like to know where that pipe is. So if you could-
I should be able to find it.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah,
you
that-
have the edge of wetland too marked, or is it,
Yep.
is it pretty visible?
I delineated that in this, not a year ago, well, August of '23, so it was
Okay.
more than a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to launch my boat and take the boat over. No, just kidding.
Thought about that.
So 4
Ski boat.
o'clock, how's the parking situation there? Brendan?
It's tight.
Not pretty, but
Not pretty?
we should be able to make it work, I think.
Can we go down where is that gated area kind of open? Can we park in there or no?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I haven't been there this winter, and we've had a lot of snow, so
I
I'm
was
not-
I was there when I left you. I went
Yep.
over there.
No bueno?
Snowbanks and no bueno, yeah.
Where's the best place to park?
Why don't we meet,
Probably on Beaver
let's
Lake
meet
Ave.
in front of the property and then we'll
Okay.
kind of, we'll coordinate on parking.
narrow roads over there, too, so
Yeah, it
we'll-
is.
We'll
Yeah,
just
may-
have
we-
to figure it out, I think.
Yeah. Maybe
They're
we
a
might
car
have
and a
to,
half, if any.
we might have to move down just a little bit to, and walk up. It's not
Yep.
too far. All right, so it's 4 o'clock next Monday. You're going to have, let's get a measurement on the corner of that house to the high water mark.
Okay,
And I'd like to just reiterate what Commissioner Chabot said about silt fence. We're going to want a real
I
hefty
can,
silt
yep,
fence
I
there.
can easily add that to the plan. In fact, I'll likely add what the New Hampshire Fish and Game recommends. That's what I
Yeah.
typically do.
That's perfect, and that'll be monitored. We're gonna keep an eye on that silt fence while you guys are working. So make sure it's done right. Tell the
course.
contractor that.
Yep.
The commission's gonna make sure it's perfect. Okay.
And to Brandon's credit, this was short notice. We met Friday morning. He'd had a site walk in Loudon at 5 o'clock today. Got all this stuff together. And between the TRC and Mark had answered a lot of the concerns that I had about this project, but I commend you and thank you for doing this on short notice.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And
Likewise.
that's Mark LaRue. That's the
LaRue, yeah.
town engineer.
Town engineer, yeah.
Mark's very organized, so it's
Yeah,
it's easy to
he
follow.
gave you 2 sheets of notes.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else for Brendan before we let him go? All right. We'll see you next Monday, 4 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we don't have Bradley, we have, who do we have?
We have Sam Foisey.
Say the last name again for me, Sam?
Foisey, F-O-I-S-I-E.
Foisie, and you're with
Meridian Land Services.
Meridian Land Services, okay, good. And do you have some plans for us?
I do have the presentation set on the poster board. I was instructed to leave them over there. I'd imagine they're the same plans that were discussed at the TRC meeting.
You didn't bring any by any chance?
Not a PDF or hard copies. I apologize, this being my first dairy experience here, since my colleague usually covers dairy for me.
All right, so, you are gonna come, you will be back, because you need to come back on this project. So this will be our first look at it. When you do come back, we ask you to bring a set of plans for each commissioner and a large set for the chair and myself. And anyway, can we zero in on that at all? That plan set? if he moves it. If not, I'll have him bring it up.
And then you said one large for yourself. Is there any
So
more large?
full size,
Yeah.
and then the 11 by 17s for the fellow commissioners.
Okay.
Full plan set, though, not just the front page.
Yep.
Just let me know if you can see that on your screens, commissioners.
Want to share your screen? Okay.
And just to be specific, so for yourself, one large and one small, or just one large?
Just one large.
Okay.
Owen's going to try to get that up on our screen so we can,
Underneath.
would it be better if he brought it up here? No? No?
It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, I can't see.
It's a little hard to read on the screen. Would we be allowed to walk up there and look at it?
I could, if I could, I do have one plan set for myself. I could pass
Oh, that
this
would be
around
great.
if you,
Would that be helpful, Owen, having that? If he has one that he can give you? No? No? No better? To get up on the, to get a clearer one on the screen? Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't have it.
All right, so why don't you guys share those two, Bob and
Yep.
Eileen? Why don't you bring that one over here?
It's a, I think I'll keep it pretty high level anyways, given that
getting better.
that's the about, the knowledge that I have. I think your eyes are adjusting to it to.
You're okay? All right, I'm going to go with this. 'cause
I need a better optometrist, Ricky.
Huh? Need a better,
Better out there.
No good ones.
yeah, no, I don't know anybody. 22, 12, 31.
I think I could probably see it enough.
I'm not sure what this is. You know where Poor
Yeah,
Farm Road
why don't you
is?
go for it?
All right, so.
If you have to go over there, that's fine. too, so you know
No
what
idea
you're
where that
Yeah, I got this nice big screen right behind you
Okay,
that
going. You see that? Is that one legible?
it was up there right when I said it, and then it went down. There you
Look
go.
up how long I've been in Derry, too.
Oh, that's better. That's much better.
Yeah,
Thank
window.
you. All right, lay it out for us. What's going on?
All right, so for the record, Sam Foisey with Meridian Land Services. I'm filling in for Brad Casperson, who you'll see on the rest of the presentation. This lot is owned and being developed by Cali Construction. The lot is referred to as Tax Map 22, Lot 12-3-1. It currently is a vacant parcel that has frontage on Poor Farm Road, which I believe is a Class 6 road and just has a dirt path that connects a Class 5, and I think it's another Class 5, I can't remember, but eventually gets to a vacant town lot as you travel more westerly along it. The parcel is approximately 20.5 acres. It is mostly wooded. It is all wooded with some wetlands located on the more northerly portion of the lot, and that's the portion of the lot that slopes off as you get to the rear of this project. As I kind of said before, this is located within the southwest portion of the town of Derry, and it's approximately at the intersection of Strawberry Hill Road, Poor Farm Road, and I believe Blueberry Road, if I remember correctly. The current proposal in front of you is 8 3-unit buildings for older persons, also known as 55 and up community.
Watch who you calling old.
I'm just stating what the regulation says. The project involves extending a portion of Poor Farm Road from the cul-de-sac and then eventually to get past where we are proposing the one entrance into the property. It might be a little hard to see on the screen, but it's in the bottom right-hand corner here. So there would be one entrance into the site, And then each unit would be served by an individual driveway that has room for one parking space within the garage and one parking space out of the garage. At the end of this access through the site, there is a turnaround that is available for a fire truck to be able to make the appropriate turning maneuver to get around it.
Where is that?
If you see at the left side of the screen there, there is a hammerhead turnaround, which when we provide you
where that ends right there?
yeah, when we provide you the actual plan set, you'll see in there that there is a fire turning movement that shows that a fire truck can be able to make the appropriate turn to come in and
So you're basically
get out.
asking the fire truck to pull in and then back into that area and then pull out?
Yes, correct.
Oh, boy.
So this project will be served by water and sewer. Water is located approximately at the intersection of Blueberry Road, or is it Blackberry or Blueberry? I can't remember, but Blueberry. And then sewer will be on the more northerly portion of it. It will involve some off-site improvements as you make that connection. Sewer will be done via a force main to be able to pump it from this site over to the other site.
So when you say it's not available on Blueberry Road, it's at the end of Blueberry Road or down at the beginning of it?
So there's the intersection of Blueberry Road and Poor Farm Road, and then there's the more northerly portion. So as it leaves the site to the east, it will then go north on Blueberry Road and connect into the gravity system that's there. So there will be some off-site improvements associated with this. I'm not sure if this trips the threshold for the New Hampshire DES alteration of terrain permit, but the pond is sized to, at a minimum, the dairy standards, which I'm not familiar with dairy standards, but I'd imagine it mimics the DES requirements for stormwater removals or stormwater treatment. And the way that it's done in this case is there is a swale between the front buildings and the Poor Farm Road right-of-way. There's also a swale to the east, and then there is a swale that contains to the north. And that all collects the stormwater runoff and brings it to the surface infiltration basin at the northerly portion of the property, where it treats it and controls the discharge rate.
Where is it discharging to?
It is discharging onto the property, and then it eventually sheet flows down to the wetland area in the north. Kind of moving on to the benefits to the town. One, there's senior housing, so it's a diversity of housing type. And then there are no wetland impacts proposed with this. And then there's a rather large open space lot associated with this. If this plan zooms out, you'll be able to see the hatched area. That area is approximately 16.8 acres. With the overall site being 20, you're between 75 and 80% open space that's being maintained. Also, the project is well away from the wetland areas, and it does conjoin with a town lot to the west, if the town ever wants to preserve that lot under a conservation easement.
Is the wetland right here?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
I believe that there's two town lots. The one on the upper left-hand side, like southwest, is a conservation property. The other one is owned by the town of Derry. So
Okay.
So is edge of wetland that kind of a meandering line with the little hashes in it?
Yeah, there's a couple pocket wetlands in there. There's it's the meandering line that you can probably see there's probably
Oh, I
about.
see, you've got a limits of work line that's going all the way around.
Yeah, so that's
That's what we were
the
looking at.
limits of disturbance there. So the end of our grading is defined by that line with ticks going perpendicular to it is the limits of work.
Right, this is all limits of
And maybe if I just come up
Wetland.
here.
Is the wetland on it?
We've got a pond here.
That's theirs, though. That's
Yeah,
their
they don't
pond.
really show the wetlands line here.
What about the big plant? The big one?
Over here?
Are the wetland areas with the associated buffer with them, but as you can see, we're well away from those areas.
Oh, there's some wetlands, okay.
I can flip to some other plans in here if it helps. So this line right here, and I'll try to speak louder and hopefully the mic can pick me up, is the limits of work that you were discussing.
Yeah, it's going all the way around like a circle, yep.
We do have an erosion control plan within the plan set that does have a vegetation fence going around it, and there's different varieties of erosion controls. One being the silt fence that goes around it, and then anywhere where we have a slope that's a 2-to-1, we have erosion control matting to further protect the steeper slopes from erosion. But this plan here is the grading and drainage plan.
Can you go back over there to the, and just point out the wetlands to us, please?
Here's a pocket. And then a much larger area in the northern corner. And the site generally slopes from the high point here. It slopes
What sheet are you referring to right there? If you could just tell me what page?
number 4.
Sheet 4, thank you.
Oh, and is any of that stuff coming over, like, I know that, can that be heard, when he's talking over there? I just don't want to. Not enough? Do you think it's worth giving him a mic?
I'll make sure we have PDFs as well for the next meeting.
We're gonna have you go, I'm gonna have you stand over at that map again, okay?
That's right here.
Test check.
Thank you.
And just restate where the wetlands are.
Yep. So the wetlands are this long dash with 3 dots is what signifies what represents the leading edge of the wetlands. There are a couple pockets scattered about the northern portion of the site. Then there's one large one that eventually that does go off site.
Okay, in the retention pond or area, or the drainage swale area.
Yep.
So that's gonna discharge at grade and then sheet flow to the wetland?
Yes, and I think
And show me where that's gonna go. Probably best on that first page where you were.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of describe the overall system on here, and that might help. So, one, the access path through here conveys to 2 catch basins here, which ultimately go to a drainage manhole and then to another drainage manhole that then conveys it to the stormwater pond. This portion of the site that sheets off to the south is collected through a swale that then is conveyed through some drainage pipe networks, which again ultimately drains to the infiltration pond, and then a swale captures this side, and then again ultimately drains to the infiltration basin. And then this portion of it has a rather wide berm, but this is for access for maintenance of the pond, and then the swale, which creates a swale here and brings it to the infiltration pond. It then exits or discharges from the infiltration pond if you're infiltration pond to the north, or I guess it's more the west, which is right here, and then will eventually sheet flow to the wetlands.
The swale going around, that's a riprap swale. Obviously, you're gonna give us detail on all this stuff on the next set of plans, but just so we know what we're looking at.
Yep. So this is not a riprap swale. This is just a grass-lined swale.
Vegetated swale?
Yes.
The catch basins that are in the parking lot, are they sump basins? Do they have like an MDC component, trap oily water and stuff like that?
I'm not sure if I can't speak specifically if they're sumps, but we typically propose a 24-inch sump unless Fish and Game tells us otherwise.
So we'll need a detail on those too when you in your next set of plans.
I'm confident that there is a detail in there. I'm just not as familiar as the design engineer.
And I think I want to see, you probably going to need to make a note of this. I want to see where that sheet flow, where it's going to end up. So when it comes out of that drainage area, I want to know which way the grades are going, and how and where they're going to end up in the wetlands. And we're going to look at those wetlands when we do the site walk. If you think you're done, we can take some questions from the commissioners.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead, Eileen.
So on the surface infiltration basin, How deep would you say that is going to be?
It's approximately 4 feet deep.
Okay, so when you talk about the sheet flow to the wetland, in looking at this on page 7. I see that you have an outlet control structure.
Yes.
I'm assuming that unless the water reaches the level of that outlet control structure, there would be no sheet flow to the wetland until that occurs. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And would you have anything, I see that you've noted a scour hole at the end of the flared end section. Would you have any riprap with that scour hole, anything to prevent damage to the wetland as it's sheet flowing through there?
Yes, that scour hole will be protected with riprap.
Okay.
I got one, I guess. On,
Eileen, are you done?
without the set of,
Now,
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I thought you were, sorry. Snow removal. It's a long road, and it looks like it would be plowed right off into the edges. That's the most convenient if you're operating a plow truck.
Thank you. Thank you for the help. So we do have some snow removal. I know you don't have the plan set, but it is on sheet 6. That's indicated in these hatch patterns here, as well as a very large area located at the end of this access way that is internal of this containment berm and will eventually melt and drain through this swale and then into the infiltration basin. So it's at least treated before it leaves the site.
Anything else, Bob? No? Any other commissioners have questions for the applicant? Good.
I always like to know what kind of heating and cooling they're going to use there. Have they considered solar and heat pumps, or are they going gas or oil?
I don't know. I can have my colleague ask the client what he typically builds in his construction. So.
Okay. Great.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
You said cooling and heating, and then is there potential for solar?
Yeah,
Okay.
what kind of heating method are they using? Renewables or
Mm-hmm.
fossil?
Okay.
one more question.
Go ahead, Eileen.
Could you just tell me quickly, I know you must have it in here somewhere, but your erosion control plan, what sheet that is, please? I'm sure you must have it in the set.
I don't know if I have it on the big set, but
Oh, okay, I think I just found it. Thank you. Sheet 11?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the cover to see what sheet it is.
What I see in here is at sheet
Yeah.
11.
She said 11.
I guess I can't confirm if it's specifically sheet 11 because I don't have
Oh, okay.
the full
Gotcha.
set over there.
I just wanted to see that you had, you talked about the stabilization matting earlier, but you also have temporary perimeter erosion controls around that discharge point, which would be very important to us, of course. And temporary inlet protection, which is good. So would the matting that you would have on those steep slopes, would that be jute matting or similar?
I'm not familiar with that matting, so I'm not.
That's really, really good erosion control matting that you'd put on steep slopes.
Can you say the name of it again?
Jute, J-U-T-E. The DOT uses it a lot when they're dealing with, steep slopes along the highway.
Okay.
It's organic, so it breaks down over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of
Leave it
having
in
the,
place.
I know the state is moving away from having like the plastics in it to where it needs to be
It's not
removed,
plastic,
so.
it's more of a natural material, actually. And like Bob said, it degrades over time, so. But it does an excellent job with erosion control
Okay.
on a steep slope.
Anything else? Commissioners?
That's all I have.
So a couple of highlights, and then we'll talk about where you are with the TRC. So first, snow storage, you did allude that it was going to be treated. That's one of our major sticking points, that snow can't get pushed past the swale
Mhm.
into the wetland, into an area where the snow melt is not going to be treated. So
Yep.
just make sure that that stuff is on the next set of plans, because we will be looking for that. The erosion control, well, the last applicant, we want it well done. We want it maintained. We don't want it broken down. We will visit the site while you're doing it. So make sure that you move that forward as far as you need to forward it all the way to the contractor. We also have invasive species language. It should have been given to you by the planning board. If you don't have it, I think you're still in front of the TRC. We have a protocol on how you handle invasive species in town, and they have our language on that.
I do know in our standard stormwater maintenance inspection manual, we have a sheet there for identifying invasive species, more plant species than anything, but.
Yeah, this is more on the clearing stage, when you're actually clearing the lot before you build, how you
Okay.
handle it at that point.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Eileen?
I'd also like to make one other comment. I was just looking at the landscaping plan. It doesn't look like that you're using a lot of native species. We certainly like to see native species where possible. There's a lot of like foreign species listed here: Japanese lilac, Japanese maple, thornless honey locust, Austrian pine, Quonset cherry. It would be nice if you could incorporate some native New England species into that list.
I'm gonna chime in on that, Eileen, just so you know that it's on our radar screen. The land manager, Beth Carver, and I, one of my bullet items is for her to develop she's I'm gonna say she's an expert in plants, and we're gonna develop a preferred list that the Derry Conservation Commission has to supply to applicants of what we would like to see on these projects. So it's on our radar screen, but that doesn't mean that Eileen's comments should not be taken, and you should forward those comments to whoever is doing the plan.
I do, Rick, just so you know, I do a lot of work with Native Plant Trust. I'm a member of Native Plant
Awesome.
Trust. And I do a lot of surveys for rare and endangered plants, so I also have a lot of botanical knowledge
Great.
as well.
Yeah, so maybe you just volunteered to help Beth with it.
I can help you.
We're gonna have that at the TRC, so when applicants come in, we're gonna have our invasive plan, our suggested plantings, our snow storage is gonna be packaged up so people know where we are, so when they get here, they're not learning it for the first time. That's one of our goals. Okay, that being said, I want to talk to the commissioners about this plan and the way it was presented, but before we do, two other things. The jute matting is something that we like to see, so forward that to whoever it is you need to forward that to.
Yep.
As a matting material. So normally, historically, when we get our first look at plans, we get a pretty good, we have plans to look at, and we ask applicants to do a site walk. And then on the second trip at Concom, we feel like we have enough information that the chair can sign off on the plan. In this scenario, I'm not sure if that threshold has been met, and I know that our applicant is still before TRC. Is that accurate? You still got another swipe at TRC before you move it on to planning, right?
I think so. I know that there was some discussion with the DPW director regarding the road standards, and that's why it's kind of moving forward through TRC. So I'm not totally familiar on the exact status of where it's at.
Okay. I'm going to assume you're going to go back to TRC. And if you do, either myself or Mr. Metz will be at that meeting. at that meeting, once those plans are, the full set of plans, the kind of the set of plans you're gonna be working off to build the project, we need to get a hold of those.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna schedule a site walk at this time, because I think things could change, especially the road might change, things might change, so, actually, I'm gonna take that back. What's the opinion of the commissioners? How do you feel about this plan? Do you feel like it's been presented to a point that we're informed enough to perform a site walk, have a second meeting with the applicant, and at that second meeting, make a determination on the plan? What are people's thoughts on that?
If we do a site walk now, where you're saying we'll have a second meeting, will we have an opportunity after that site walk, and after having digested what's in this plan set, have an opportunity to make recommendations on improving the plans? Or things that we want to see on the plans that weren't on tonight?
It would be a very deep dive and a very short, normally we have those plans right now, and we take them with us to the site walk, and
Right.
and we kind of do some
Right, and I'm
cross-referencing.
going to ask you right now, could I have this to take home?
Yeah.
I kind of have
We're
some
gonna
notes
do a
in there, so
sidewalk? Huh?
I kind of have some notes in there for myself to talk to my colleague about.
Oh, you
so,
do?
So I have to. What I can do is make sure he delivers sets to the town and potentially have the board members be able to pick them up if that's a possibility, to have plans for enough time to digest them.
Or would you
I'm
be
gonna
able to?
rephrase. I'm going to rephrase my question, Eileen.
Yeah,
It's not that uncommon that we have applicants come to this board 3 times, especially on bigger projects. We've had some applicants come to this board 5 times on big projects. So are the commissioners comfortable with what we presented tonight, we were presented with tonight, for this applicant to do a site walk and have this applicant come back a second time? Or should we just, at this point, decide that we want this applicant to come back with a full set of plans after the TRC is done with their work, and kind of at least have a base knowledge of what's going on, and then schedule a site walk after that
Yeah.
meeting? And then the third meeting would basically just be a quick meeting. We got to come in, drop off the plans, and I'm going to sign them, because we've kind of aired out everything. How do people feel about that?
The later we get to walk it and review it, the better, I think.
Yeah, so
Right now,
I'm seeing
it's
a
a
lot
pretty
of
big
nods.
property, and there's a lot of wetland involved. It'd
Yeah.
be nice to be able to see.
Yeah.
Snowpack is still covering a lot of that.
I think it's a great project. I think it's a worthy project. I just want to make sure that we've dotted our i's and crossed our t's on it, and done right by it. And I think that our best opportunity for that would be to get the plans set after the next TRC meeting, and then schedule the site walk. I don't know what you guys think, but that's what I think.
So Eileen, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of nods. Bob's a yes. All right, so it looks like you're going to need to come back with another set of plans.
Okay.
We're gonna either Rick Metz or myself will be at the TRC. So you will have an opportunity between the TRC and then when you're before us, if him or I see something that's glaringly gonna be a problem, we're gonna be able to address it at that point, which will prevent you having to keep coming back. We don't want that. We don't want that. I don't think the planning board was very clear on what you should expect at this commission, because at this commission, you gotta come through the door with all the plans, because we take them home and we look at them before we do the site walk, and then when we go to the site walk, we know what we're looking at. So I'm gonna make it abundantly clear to those folks that before an applicant comes here, they may need to be reminded that that's the case.
Yeah, and I do think that if Brad knew that he needed to provide me with 10 sets of plans, he would have handed me the 10 sets of plans to hand out to you tonight.
Anything else from the commissioners? No. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you at TRC.
Not me.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Okay, I was contacted by, I don't know, am I on? I feel like I'm not on. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, Owen? Thumbs up, maybe? Yes? Okay. I was contacted by Greater Derry Track Club a couple of weeks ago, maybe a few, was actually very timely because it was in the middle of Mr. Metz and I hiring Beth. And they approached us and said, you know, they use the trails at the conservation properties regularly, and they wanted to know if they could get involved with helping us clean them up. Doesn't that sound nice? So I've invited them here tonight, and gentlemen, come on up, state your name for the record, and lay it on us.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can see you too.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know it was going to be this formal. I would have got my hair done. So, yeah, thanks very much, commissioners, to seeing us. So my name is Paul Mahan. I'm with the Greater Derry Track Club, and I'm the Community Relations Officer, and then John McGarry.
John McGarry, I'm the president of the running club.
So, yeah, we're with Greater Derry Running Club, but we're not just a running club. We do, you know, we have about 350 members, mixed of like hiking, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, but obviously our main thing is a lot of running. You know, we probably know us from the Turkey Trot. We have the Boston Prep that runs in January. It's very popular. So, but one of our main goals is giving back to the community. So, like with the Turkey Trot, all the money we raise, we give back to the local food pantries around Derry. We also do like a kids fun run, which is all free, and we do a Couch to 5K program in May, which is again, we give back to the community. We don't charge anything for people to come and run. So one of the things that we done last year in the fall was we started like a trail running group on Saturday mornings, and we did it around surrounding towns. And I noticed that, not to try and say that some towns have better systems, but like in Windham, for example, a lot of the trails are really well mapped. And we have some great trails around town, but a lot of the trailheads need a lot of modernization, proper maps. And I just think it would bring a lot of maybe just local business into the community, and also provide, you know, places for people to hike and or run, because we, you know, as I said, we do have a group of people that like to run around the trails. Like some of the trail maps could do with, as I said, the trailheads with proper maps, and then when you get onto the trails, like I live on just off Pingaree Hill, and there's trails around J&F Farms there, and a lot of the trails, they're once you know your way around, you can navigate them, but if you can easily get lost as well if you go in there for the first time, you know. So some of the things that I was thinking about is that, like, we, you know, in over on Robert Frost Farm, there's the Grinnell Trail, and I think there was a project in 2003 where there was a collaboration with the local scouts. So I was thinking that I'm sure we could get a group from our club and from maybe the scouts to help clean up the trails, you know, but it would involve obviously better maps, and also maybe, I don't know whether someone with a chainsaw to cut down some trees that have fallen across the trails, and then better markings, you know. So like, say for example, if you go to a trail and you want to just do a 1 mile loop, you just follow the green loop. If you want to do a 2 mile loop, you follow the blue loop and stuff like that. And like, if you look on your website right now, like you have all the trails listed, but a lot of the maps are different. They're, you know, some are like as a screenshot of a map from I don't know how long. But if you, again, I'm not trying to compare you to another town, but if you look on the Windham, it's all the same, you know, having them all standardized. And that's why we're here today. We'd like to get involved and help and see what needs to be done to do that. So. I don't know what you want to add, John.
So yeah, just to jump on what Paul said, we're a nonprofit, and we've been around since 1978, and some of our club members have been in our club since 1978. So there's a lot of history with the town, and we're very well involved in the community and do a lot of work. But we just noticed that there was this potential opportunity within what we could do as club members. Like we look for opportunities to volunteer, and as Paul mentioned, we could maybe loop in the Boy Scouts. We all know the high school, they need volunteer hours to bring in some students to help. And I don't know, I'd love to learn a little bit more about, is there a trail conservation committee already in existence that we could work with or partner with? But you know, we're seeing this as an opportunity to reach out to the town and offer our assistance. But as we all know, there are some incredibly beautiful roads around here, especially in East Derry. We spend a lot of time there. But there's a lot of roads that are very dangerous, very busy, and the more we can encourage people, aside from the rail trail, but to get walkers, hikers, runners, sometimes even bikers off the roads and into the woods. They're here, and you know, we have conservation land in every town for a reason. That it's just another way to let people know that they're here. I mean, I've been running through the roads in Derry for 15 years, and Paul introduced a trail to me like a month ago. I had no idea it was there, and we've run by it for years. So just having that awareness of there are these trail systems in Derry that are great, and you know, how do we let the community know that they're there, and then try to improve the system maps and whatever else we can do, clean them up. So I guess just the question I wanted to learn is there a trail conservation committee now, and you know, how are they maintained today?
So first I want to thank you guys for coming. And the answer to that question is kinda. We've been neglecting the trails a little bit in the recent past, but we're trying to right that ship right now. We've just impaneled a subcommittee on trail maintenance. Bob Spurl is chairing it, and we just hired a land manager, Beth Carver, that's going to be spearheading specifically what you're talking about. So your attendance at this meeting is very timely. But I don't want to take up all the time, so I'd like to hear from the commissioners on it. What do you guys think of this, Eileen?
I wanted to add something to what our chair said. We had a few months back, probably more than a few months, maybe it's 6 months back, but we enlisted some help from the vice chair of the Hampstead Conservation Commission, who was quite involved and very good at making GPS maps. And he was starting to do that with some of our properties. I don't know how much progress he made, but that is someone else to speak to find out how much progress was made and maybe build on that progress. You know, he's a person who's very gifted and could help with exactly what you're looking for. And I really applaud what you're trying to do. My son is a runner, and he, oh my God, from 3rd grade on, you know, he went to East Derry Memorial School, and from 3rd grade on through college, you know, he was always running Derry's trails, and he would always tell me what was wrong, if trees were down, or similar to what you're saying, or how things could be improved. And I think, and I applaud your desire and your efforts in this direction. That would be great. Huh?
Is he local?
Yes, he is. Yep.
I'm to join the club.
I'll have him sign. Yeah, he actually did run with you a few times in the past. He was an all-state award winner, you know, runner at Pinkerton, and then he went on to Keene State and did quite well with their team as well.
Yeah, Pinkerton has a great cross-country program.
Yes, it has an excellent cross-country program. Yeah. And he ran track too. He ran indoor and outdoor track. He's still a runner, but not really competitively anymore. He just runs for his health. But you're right. It's a great way to get people involved and get to know our conservation areas and enjoy them and use them.
Jim was starting to map.
That's what I was saying. He was working with the Hampstead vice chair, and he got some of the maps done. I believe he did, and he even got them on the what's the name of that app?
Not All Trails.
All
it's a
Trails? I
different
think it
one.
was All Trails.
No, he
It wasn't?
said it was a different one.
It was a different one.
There's so many, there is so many.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, they
It
were
wasn't
on
All
it,
Trails.
there's several that are on an app. I don't know, like Grace said, I'm not sure of the app name, but I know he did accomplish a few of them. And work was continuing with the vice chair in Hampstead because that guy was really gifted and did a lot of, if you've noticed, I don't know if you've ever run on Hampstead Conservation Land, but their trails are outstanding in terms of how the signage is constructed and the maps and everything. It's very clear how to get around. It would be nice if we were able to do that with our properties as well. Of course, it takes hands and it takes efforts. You
Yeah.
know, It takes a land manager and gifted people to get that job complete. But very
I'd like
worthy
to
effort.
see a gathering of the commission to help take a day and go out and blaze.
Blaze
you
the
know,
trails,
blaze
yeah.
the trails and.
Yep, that's, to blaze them is a start,
We haven't
yeah.
done anything since I've been on the commission.
That's a
that way.
start.
Jim has done it on his own, but.
Yep. Yep.
That would help.
Well, what I would think would we would start with one trail and
Uh-huh.
make that kind of like as the benchmark.
Sure.
So then it would be easier then to then pass that on to the, replicate that to the rest of the trails, so.
Right, and that's what our previous chair was starting to do with that Hampstead vice chair, is to set a standard and get a,
Yeah, there's a-
use that as a
Coal
as
Marsh
a
is on all
tool, if you
trails,
will, to,
Is it?
I'm looking at it right now.
move
Okay.
along and get other properties done in the same uniform way, with same signage and, the same blazing and so forth.
And another thing you
Beth,
could do
Beth,
is.
does any of this stuff sound familiar? Any, any of these conversations sound familiar?
It does.
Is
It
it?
does. I actually, the last 2 years of conservation meetings are fresh in my mind because, of course, because I had to watch them all before. How often do you get to look in on like who's going to be hiring you before an interview, right? So yes, you guys have been talking about this for a while, and it's really exciting that you're here. Yeah.
Anyone else want to have any questions for these gentlemen? And then I have a little bit of a wrap-up. Rick?
Well, and there's plenty of service clubs in town that look for projects like this to help. So a coordination of that. We're not looking for community hours because we're old. That time has passed, but there are service clubs out there that'll help. And those service clubs have connections with the schools and those type of organizations. The ROTC at Pinkerton, they're 200-plus strong. Get 10% of them, that's 20. So project.
No, I
can
don't
be-
think we would have any problem getting some of our members to help out too, but yeah, with a collaboration with local towns, because obviously, like, one of the things, obviously, we need somebody that can handle a chainsaw, you know what I mean? So I don't know whether, that would be someone from the town, or we'd have to get somebody, from a maybe.
Yeah, I'll
some-
speak to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If anyone else? No? So, trail marking, right, blazing, maps and the website, those are the three kind of bullet items I think that we want to tackle. I think that's what I got from what you were talking about, those three things and then trying to get onto some sort of integrated trail app, right, would be ideal.
Yeah, like the trailheads, then the mapping of the trails themselves.
Okay.
And then, navigation around. Like, so for example, my watch, I can literally, track my run, then save it as a route. And then if I wanted to give it to John, he can then upload it to his phone or his watch, and it will give him a turn-by-turn navigation on his watch.
Right.
You
So is that a
know,
Garmin watch?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a caution on that. So, there's a lot of trails on a lot of different properties that are not actually a designated trail. And I'm gonna caution that we'd like to review before we really throw an effort into cleaning out a trail to find out it's not a trail that we wanna maintain.
Right.
Too steep, too close to wetland, there's a bunch of different issues which, as runners, you probably are already aware of. So before you go out and start clearing a bunch of trails, would be to verify with us or Beth, that those are trails that we actually want to see designated. the problem with a lot of the online map sources, people find a trail or they're like, oh, it'd be better if there's a little trail through here. They trim the trail, they map it, and now it's a trail. It's a problem.
But it might be going through sensitive habitat, for instance.
Yeah, well, we
you know?
wouldn't do anything without your guidance, you know what I mean? Like, this is just obviously the first step, like,
Yeah.
we'd sit down and say, okay, we're gonna start it. I'd like to start at the one closest to my house so I can just walk down the road and help out, so-
Right. No, but I'm just saying, we'd like to review that kind of
No, no,
stuff
that-
before a
yeah,
big
totally
work project
understandable,
goes
yeah,
in
yeah.
and we commit
Yeah,
a
before
lot
the
of hours
chainsaws
and labor.
start
Yeah,
blazing
yeah,
something
yeah.
that, yeah, definitely.
So, for your understanding, my background, I worked for the state of New Hampshire Forests and Lands since '93, working trails with the non-motorized program specialist, but now I'm in Forests and Lands. And so, the experience of operating all those properties gives me caution sometimes, especially with our smaller and more intimate properties, so.
And Bob's going to be one of your contacts once we get it rolled out. I think
But
that's
I
a
support the idea a lot. It's great that
Yeah.
you've expressed interest in see what we can do. The only thing I don't know, we've had conversations about whether volunteers would be allowed to go on the properties using chainsaws.
no
It's a
chainsaws.
liability thing
Yeah.
that we need to figure out,
There'll be no chainsaws.
right?
Not by them anyway.
Right. So,
So-
it may be that those would have to be identified, and then we'd have town crew go in and do it. But the normal lopping the branches and picking up stuff and that, no problem, as far as I know.
Yeah, so we're just starting. This week, Beth is starting to do some assessments on, we're going to pick a conservation property. Unless you have one in mind, we could start with this gentleman's here, if you want to start with that one.
Please
Yeah.
suggest a way.
Yeah, so we're gonna take on that property. Beth's gonna do a trail assessment. Bob and Beth are gonna work on a plan to deal with the trails on that property. And then our council liaison, Mr. Foote, is going to be the connectivity to the DPW if we need power equipment in the system. So it'll start out with Beth doing her assessment. It'll move to, after that assessment, we'll determine whether it's going to need just manpower or manpower plus power equipment. And then all of the blazing and all of that stuff will happen. Mr. Metz is working with Doug Rathburn on the website and the maps. So that's just started too. So all this stuff kind of just started. So it's kind of perfect that you guys showed up tonight. So if we could connect Beth, Bob, and you guys together. What's the property near your house?
It's near J&F Farms.
Is it Corneliuson?
Pardon?
Corneliuson?
I think so, yeah.
I believe that is the name of the property that's near.
Corneliuson is the one behind, like in the back of, like if you go all the way up the hill in the back. Is it that
You
one?
You
down
go down
Holiday
English Range
Lane,
Road,
that's
there's a
the-
trailhead off English Range Road.
Yeah.
And then there's also one in Happy Lane, I think.
Oh, Holiday
Holiday
Lane.
Lane.
That's-
I think
Yeah,
it
and
is.
then there's also, you can also access it from Elwood. It's
Corneliuson.
Yeah, that's Corneliuson.
Yeah, that's
All
our
right, so
Corneliuson
Corneliuson's going to be our first property. That's the one near your house. We actually have an abutting property that we just bought, the Ball property. You might not even know about it, but we also just purchased the property adjacent to Corneliuson. So if you're going up, if you're coming from English Range Road and you're going up that road, there's the abandoned apple orchard on the left-hand side. And then you come up to the cornfield, and Corneliuson is all the way in the back. We just bought the property to the left, the Ball property. So that's conservation property also now, and there is a little bit of a track that runs around the perimeter of that.
Is that the one where there's 3 brand-new houses being built on the opposite side?
Yeah, that was part of the, so the Ball family developed the on-road portions, and we bought all of the back property on the opposite side behind the Ball home.
Okay.
That back parcel, we just closed on that now, just recently.
Awesome.
So that Corneliuson actually has connectivity to that, so it's a bigger property. And there's a really cool walking trail on the upper plateau, the highest part up there. There's a cornfield. There's a trail that runs around it. I don't know if you saw that. And there's also one that goes goes down, halfway down. You'll see it when you go up there. You
I've
familiar with
been there
the one?
before. Yeah.
Huh? You've been there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do Corneliuson first, and it's going to start off with Beth doing an assessment, and then we'll figure out whether we need power equipment or just manpower, and we'll coordinate and do that. Good?
Sounds great.
So that's our first project,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, great, awesome.
Sound good? And so we'll use that as a boilerplate for other projects. Good? Good? Yes? Charlie? That's good, right?
That's good, yep. I'm writing my notes down. I'll talk to Mr. Fowler tomorrow. Get a heads up on it.
All right, guys. All set. I'll connect Beth with, I have your email, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to do an email with yourself. Actually, you're already in an email with Bob.
We already,
Are you in that email, Bob?
I am not.
Beth? Okay,
Nope,
so
I
I'm
haven't seen anything.
I'll tie Beth into that email, and you guys can start communicating. Just include me in any of the communications, please. Anything else, guys?
No.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you're welcome.
thanks for the
Thank you,
offer.
gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, we're going to go, this is going to be a longer meeting, unfortunately, but we have a lot to cover. We'll try to wrap it up by 8:30 if we can. Chair's report. We have a couple of things I am going to send in both directions. There's a conservation training program, coverts, one going in each direction. The commission pays for your attendance at this meeting if you want to go. That's going that way. And that way, some of my conversations recently were with the folks at the Beaver Lake Improvement Association. Beaver Lake Improvement Association is trying to do a mitigation of some invasive plants in the lake, and they asked if conservation would be would consider contributing to the cost of that. So I checked our bylaws and talked to Mike Fowler. So we are able to do it, but I don't think it's fair to. Vice Chair Metz and I had a conversation. I don't think it's fair to talk just about Beaver Lake. We should talk about all the water bodies in town. So it triggered a conversation regarding Hood Pond. And if we're going to look at water bodies in town, I think we should look at all of them. So in that conversation that I had with Mr. Fowler regarding Hood Pond, I'm going to send it this way first. Hood Pond's in the middle of having a study done on the contaminant level in the pond and what it would take to also try to improve the water in that pond. So that's just a conversation moving forward. I wanted to report it as Beaver Lake Improvement Association develops a plan to do their eradication. The Hood and when Hood Pond publishes its report, which is in April, I'll be bringing those both forward to the commission and we'll take a look at them. Fire 7, Charlie, I want to bring this up with you. We had that conversation with the chief regarding risk assessment on our conservation properties, and I kind of want to move that forward. So, Beth, I'm going to tie you into this conversation. The state has hired a statewide forest risk assessment person
For fire?
for fire. And he's poking his way through the state, going into municipalities and doing assessments on forested areas in town. And the fire chief gave me his information. So as part of our bullet items or our strategy, I wanted to tie, again, you and Council Liaison Foote. He has a relationship with the chief and a conversation with the chief, but I wanted you to reach out to that risk assessment person and try to get on his agenda to come out to Derry and look at our properties and file that risk and get that risk assessment done. But I do want you to keep Councilor Foote and then Council Foot will keep the fire chief abreast on what's going on with that.
Sounds
So as part of the assessment, I want it kind of open sourced so everybody, sees it moving forward, what we're up against. This was kind of triggered by what happened out in California. If we can do something to mitigate those problems, we want to do it. And then once we have the assessment, then we'll come up with a mitigation plan on how we're going to address it. Okay?
Sounds good.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Charlie.
And to that point, the grants that are available, you and I previously spoke about, so we missed the deadline now for this year.
Right.
But I think now is a good opportunity with the land manager position filled. Maybe she can start looking into that and filling out that application process.
Great suggestion, yeah, great
It's
suggestion.
a lengthy process.
We probably have to have the risk assessment done in order to do it, right?
Yeah. Potentially, I'm not 100% sure on that,
Okay.
but it's not going to take a whole year to do the application. But I think, but now is a good time to start looking at that, so we get way ahead of the deadline next year. I believe it's in February. For next February is the deadline for that.
So just to reiterate what you said, so there's a grant for fire mitigation coming due next February?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlie. Great suggestion. Any comments? Go ahead.
I remember a while back, Charlie Marino was supposed to come and do an assessment of Weber Forest. Did that ever happen?
I don't think it did.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
I know that Charlie's done work for us. I think the last work he did was over at that Karas property. Yep.
Right.
We're on it, though. We're on it. There's a lot of people looking at it now, so it'll move forward.
There's a lot of dead wood everywhere.
Yeah, we're on it.
Any of the forests, ash especially around this area.
Yeah.
All the dead ash, it's finally starting to fall, but that means it's on the ground then, but.
Okay, moving on. So we didn't really formally welcome Beth to our group, but Mr. Metz and I went through a number of applicants, incredibly talented applicants. We had the choice of, Beth definitely rose to the top, but we had really incredible choices for this position at land manager. It's promising to see these young people that are so eager to get involved in this process. I didn't expect to get the applicants that we did. But we went through it. We hired Beth probably 3 weeks ago. Was it, Beth? I would say, something like that.
Official start was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And she's gone through the process of getting onboarded by the town. She has a couple of email addresses now, one that's going to stay with the commission, kind of like my new email address. We have, is it land manager at Derry?
Land manager at DerryNewHampshire.org.
Right, land manager at Derry. So that's going to stay in the commission's as a commission member email moving forward. I'm going to send the report that Beth did. This is the land manager's report. Some of the stuff that she's done. Sending one in each direction, and I asked her to join us on this side of the stage because I think we're going to be referring to her a lot during these meetings. And I think it's important that we get kind of our conversations in the minutes so she can refer to them, so I can refer to them, so we can all refer to them. So most of the time she's going to spend the time here. I think at some point she'll probably sit there when she has a more lengthy presentation and be more of a presenter than someone on this side. So let's welcome Beth.
Hey.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm like lightheaded. So.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a paradigm shift for this commission. I've been on it 15 years, and I think with the addition of Beth and Tammy, I think we're gonna be a high achieving commission. I really do. Okay, moving on. Beth, do you want to chime in for anything? You want to summarize your first 2 weeks? Go ahead.
So actually, well, I mean, the first couple weeks were mostly just buttoning up HR stuff, right? But I did meet with Will Lowenthal, and we went over the process. I did actually go ahead and call Noah Duarte because he gave me his information. I thought I would come with a quote because I know that's something that kind of gets held up because it needs to be approved. So I do have,
Excuse me, so just so everyone knows, that's for the tilling of the gardens. Yep.
sorry,
That's
thank
okay.
you. Yes, yes. So, yeah, so I've gotten into the Broadview Farm, the Broadview Gardening Gmail to kind of poke around and see how Will was like handling it before. He kind of gave me his download as far as like how he keeps track of things. And then gave me Noah Duarte's contact information to do the tilling. And so, yeah, so we are well underway. And the website has been updated where it says to reserve a plot. It used to have Will Lowenthal's like personal cell phone number and the old email address that we're no longer using. And so now it just says to reserve a plot, please email landmanager@DerryNewHampshire.org. And that is, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if we should grab an approval for the cost of tilling the garden now. And Noah did also mention the brush hogging that he typically does for you guys as well. So I have numbers for those. And I have a tentative date for the tilling scheduled.
What's the tentative date?
May 16th.
Okay, so we have 2 or 3 meetings before then, so if you could just submit them, just get them over to me and I'll put them on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
great.
sound good?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just one comment
Go ahead,
too
Elaine.
about the, you said you got a quote for the brush hogging. It
Yeah.
would be really good for us to know if you could get it, like what area he's talking about with it in terms of the field area that would be brush hogged. Because again, we want to make sure that we're not going through sensitive habitat.
Yeah, so so I didn't bring up the brush hogging. He brought it up and he did kind of describe to me the area, but like, would it be helpful to have it highlighted on a map,
It would
say?
be very
Yeah,
helpful to
okay.
have it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we know what we're talking about. Yeah.
And when, does that usually happen later in the season, right? Like in October? That's not a springtime thing.
Yeah, so that's post-bobolinks breeding, which is,
Yeah, it would be very late in the
fall,
fall.
October, September, October.
Because
Okay.
the grassland birds, they're still nesting in like August and probably
Yeah.
September even sometimes. so,
Yeah, okay, so showing him a map maybe
Yep.
when he comes to do the tilling
Yeah,
to get like a
specifically what area
highlighted.
is he talking
Yeah,
about for the
okay.
brush hogging, that'd be great.
Mr. Metz?
Beth, since we've changed the contact way to reserve plots, if someone calls him, because that may be they don't look for changes?
Right.
If he calls, is he going to direct them to the new website, or will he somehow get in touch with you, or?
I believe so. So
Okay.
the way we left it, he said, please reach out anytime, if you have questions or anything like that.
Because what I don't want is someone who's had a plot for a few years and
Yeah.
then they be shut out because they didn't realize the process changed, that's all.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, I can reach out to him and just confirm that that's his plan. Yeah. And I will be occasionally monitoring the old Gmail address too, just to make sure if anybody has reached out that way that they know what to do now.
That's great.
Go ahead, Bob.
So the chair and the vice chair are familiar with your background, Beth, but for the rest of us and maybe for the public, could you give us just a few sentences on, what
Yeah.
you've done before? Would that be
Nice.
appropriate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Bob.
I'm looking to see if I have like a copy of my my resume for my own reference. So
Don't be shy, Beth.
yeah, I know. I can tell that my face is like really red right now.
Turning red.
It's very red. So farming is kind of my bread and butter. That's my big background. I've been farming in New Hampshire since 2015. I started at J&F actually. Farming's been my focus for much of my adult life. And I volunteered with Go Green Dairy, which was like a subcommittee
It
or
was a subcommittee.
yeah, of the commission, and that was 2014 to 2018. I'm currently on the board for the Dairy Homegrown Farm and Artisan Market. So I sit on that board, and I I have a background actually in computer-aided drafting. I used to put together manufacturing systems, diagrams, and stuff like that. So I'm very familiar with like reading plans, not so much residential plans, but I volunteered on the planning board the same time frame that I was with Go Green Dairy. So that was like 2013 to 18, I think. What else? I think that's a good summary.
Thank you.
What else do? You grow flowers, right?
Yes,
For a living?
yes, thank you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, of course, I have my own business, which I'll leave to to be forgotten. Yes, so I grow flowers on my property and a few neighbors' properties and at the community gardens, actually. And I sell them at the farmer's market.
Charlie?
Thank you. I would publicly invite the new land manager to the next council meeting on the 18th of March to introduce herself in the role of what this position is. I think it's more of a good public relations tool to kind of spotlight what the Conservation Commission is doing, where we're going, and what your plans are. So
Yeah,
March 18th.
okay.
There's one tomorrow, but that's short notice, so I'll say the March 18th one.
Give her some time to prepare.
But I think it's just a good,
Yeah.
different viewership than people who might not watch here,
Right.
might watch town council meeting or whatnot, so.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Charlie. And we're breaking ground here. I mean, conservation commissions don't have land managers, so we're,
Yeah.
there's people watching what we're doing, and I think we'll see, we're kind of setting the standard for moving forward, where volunteerism in today's society is much more difficult. People have multiple jobs, and life is busy, so I think, I'm excited about having Beth on board, and I think we're going to be very efficient with having her on board. Thank you, Beth. She was modest. She's done a lot more than that that I know of, and people that have been on the commission for a while have seen Beth. She's presented here a number of times. She's an asset to the town, and she's going to be a huge asset to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have, so I put you on the agenda, Charlie. I know a lot of things happening in town. Could you take 30 seconds and give us like a council liaison report? Any bullet items you want to talk about or what's going on? I put you on the spot for it. I mean, you're here.
So-
I mean, you and I talk every day, so
Yeah.
we might as well, tell them what you're up to.
Yeah, well, tomorrow wraps up the end of the season, so to say. The new elections will be on the 11th, so everyone come out and vote March 11th. That's pretty much the biggest thing going on right now. The fire station, for those who haven't seen that, on Rockingham Road's coming along. Potentially August, September-ish, they're talking about that, so that is coming along as well.
Town administrator?
Town administrator, we have a new town administrator that will be effective July 1st. Our Dave Karen is our longest-serving town administrator we've had here in Derry, and he's been here 8.5 years, and he's leaving for retirement. And Mike Fowler, our DPW director, will be the new town administrator effective July 1st.
Which is great for us, because, I have a great relationship with Mike.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Metz does too. So we're having someone that's run the DPW for a number of years, now running the town. He gets us, he knows.
Do we know who the new DPW manager is going to be?
Yeah, that was my
Or is that
question.
too
Yeah.
early?
What's who's getting kicked
Who-
out?
who-
Who's
who-
moving up? Yeah, who's moving up in the world?
I believe that will be taken care of this week.
Yeah.
Can't say who it is, but I think that will be taken care of this week.
I'll put you on the agenda next meeting,
There's
you have to tell us.
there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of dominoes falling. So as Mike moves up, they'll create his vacancy, and then Clint Havens took over for Alan Cody. Alan Cody retired after 30-something years with the town. He left in December, so Clint Havens moved up in his position. So we get a lot of movement going on.
Now, if I read it right, Mike is going to shadow Alan for a couple months. Is that going to affect the line of succession going up, or?
Mike's gonna shadow Dave.
David.
That's
Yeah,
that's
sorry,
what I meant,
okay, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So initially, when we put this position out this past year, I think we had over a dozen applicants externally. and came down to Mike. And the initial plan was that we were gonna hire somebody 4 months before the 1-year contract that we would provide. So then the plan was to have 4 months shadowing the town administrator currently. And for many who don't know, the budget season is right after the election. We start the budget season right in March, and we go through, March, April, and May, and do the budget.
We're going to be
So-
asking for more money this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you in advance.
So
Charlie.
what we wanted to do is we want to have that 4-month overlap period, so anyone who came in who wasn't familiar with the town of Derry could then shadow. Fortunately, Mike's been there for 20 years, I think, maybe a little more, so he's been shadowing all along, but he's been in doing it more, so, and it saves us a little bit money on the 4-month salary for that as well. But yeah, he's going to be irreplaceable in his position. He's done a lot for this position, so, but good news is he'll have that direct oversight, so he knows who to hire him.
Yeah, I think having Mike as the town administrator, at least from the Conservation Commission's perspective, is fantastic, because we're having someone run the town that really understands conservation and I said this to the commission when I did my report to them. The Conservation Commissioner is responsible probably for, I think the most important thing in town is probably the people, but the next two are probably water and land, and we're responsible for that. So, we have a huge responsibility. So, having Dave at the helm, I think having Mike at the helm is good for us. Thanks,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yep. Oh, can I, one more thing?
go ahead.
And we have another dog in training, another canine.
Oh, cool.
Police canine, so we'll have 2 official canine dogs, and we have 1 comfort dog in training, so we'll have 3 dogs by the next few months.
We gotta get one of the dogs in here some night. We put them on the agenda.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
They're not very social.
Yeah. Maybe the comfort dog.
The comfort dog, when the
yeah.
dog is done with the training.
Yeah, yeah.
The dog does get out and goes to Derry Fest and has been to some other events around town, so, that's, yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on. We're trying to get out of here soon. So we do have just a real brief non-public tonight. We didn't do committee reports because we talked about most of what the committees are working on. But if anyone has anything they want to chime in on for committee reports, I don't know, Mr. Metz, if you want to talk about your experience at TRC or our HR endeavors, you're welcome to.
No, you covered the personnel, and congratulations, Beth, welcome. TRC, I attended the town has a project going on, not Sawyer Court, Central Court, the parking garage and the residential surrounding it. I attended that TRC. The one point that was covered that pertains to what we deal with is that's an old brownfields site from the oil companies. And Mark LaRue, the town engineer, covered the fact that they're going to have a soil management program because they're going to disturb some of that protected brownfield, re-drill some of the monitoring wells. So from our standpoint, that's what part of that project, some of the things that we're concerned about is that brownwater, the brownwater site or the brownfield site. So I attended that. I have 2 hats on that one, conservation and economic development, so.
Are there some grants involved with the Brownsfield?
Yeah, that was a federal grant, but I think the town is, that garage, the parking garage is the actual town part of the project, so they'll be involved with all the permits and things
Okay.
like that, so.
Okay, good.
They're the general contractor for the garage project.
Anyone else, any other committee chairs want to report out? I know that we haven't done much else. No? Okay, that leads us to conservation activities. There are none. Other business, I want to get your calendars out. I want to schedule the next 3 months of meetings. So for March, this will be the only meeting in March. Both Mr. Metz and I are both traveling the second meeting in March. So in April, I am available for both meetings. So we're gonna.
Staying first and third,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, so the April meetings are gonna be the 7th,
2nd and the 16th?
7th and, what'd you say, Rick?
Oh, Monday, yeah.
7th and the
21st?
16th, you said? Or
No. You said the 2nd, wasn't it on your?
7.
7th?
This is April.
April 7th?
No, 2 meetings.
2 meetings.
Yes, 7th.
Yeah,
21st.
the 20, oh, the 21st is my birthday. I might not be at that meeting.
Okay.
We'll have cake.
Hey, I had to come on my birthday one year.
I don't know. Maybe I'll be there, maybe I won't. It
All right, so
depends.
7 and 21. So in May, I am not available for the second meeting in May. So we can either have one meeting in May, unless Mr. Metz is available for the second meeting.
Yeah, I can do both, as far as I know.
So do you want to have 2 meetings in May?
Yeah.
What's the commission's pleasure?
Yes.
All right, so it's going to be on, give me the dates,
Cinco de
5th and
Mayo.
9th.
5th and 19th?
5th and 19th.
So this is the only March meeting we're having? Is that what?
Only March
Is that
meeting,
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Rick and I are both away for the second one.
Okay.
So now June, July, and August. Go ahead, May is 5 and 19. Yeah, we need these, so I got to give these to Sheila, so make sure we document this. Thank you, Tammy. June, July, and August, we normally only meet once per month in the summertime. Oh, and chime in if you have, yeah, so, June 2nd or 16th or both? 2nd or 16th or both?
Second.
All right, so we're gonna, everyone else for the second? No good for the second? Doesn't matter, second? All right, so June 2nd, and we're meeting on May 19th, so that's a pretty short window. So if we're gonna do June 2nd, we probably should do July, well, July 7th is probably 4th of July week, right? So that's gonna
It's
be
probably not a good time.
probably not a great time. So you wanna move the July meeting to the 21st? Commission like that?
Sure.
Okay, and then August, it's either the 4th or the 18th. I'm usually away on the 18th. I'm usually away that week. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
kind of prefer the 4th myself.
4th? Everyone like the 4th? Yep, okay. And then September, the first meeting, we would not meet because it's Labor Day. So it's on September, we're going to meet on the 15th. And I think we'll stop there. Okay?
Okay.
So everyone,
Good long-range planning.
yeah, let's get those on our calendars because we're thin. We're losing Bob. Bob, we're losing you, right?
We're
We still-
losing Bob?
We still losing Bob?
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't re-upped. He's, his term expires next week and,
Really? Next
Yeah.
week?
yeah.
Last meeting.
Oh, we
This is-
had
this
big
is last
plans.
meeting?
We had big plans with you. You were gonna help us with maps and website and all. You're not gonna do that, I guess, huh?
Mr. Metz has taken over that.
Okay. Oh,
So so the meetings that we do have, we need the members here. We do have a non-public tonight and I expect. we
sure
have-
you're not gonna change your mind, Bob, huh?
Keep trying, Eileen. I tried
No?
to. I tried to. Keep trying. Don't give up. Don't give up because I tried to.
Huh.
All right, while we're talking about that, members of the public, people in the room, we need commissioners. We have a very aggressive vision of the commission moving forward. We have a lot of, we're planning a lot of work and we need help doing it, so. What's that?
I'm already on zoning.
Yeah, you
Good
can't.
for you.
Yeah. And I think you're, oh no, I can't say that. Yeah, so if you know someone that would be interested in being on the commission, the only requirement that we have, Rick and I interviewed someone the other day, is you can't be a commissioner and not come to meetings. You have to make the meetings. The meetings are critical, because that's when we get our business done. So, members of the public, if you're listening, reach out to Sheila Boden-Rader and get on the commission.
Get applied right online.
Yeah, right online, yeah. Yeah, good. And if any of the commissioners know someone that they think would, that's passionate about this stuff, then get them on board. I urge you that we're gonna be high achieving. We are. We're gonna get a lot of stuff done. We got a good team in place, and we're gonna get it done. I promise you that. Okay, if there's nothing else, we're gonna go into non-public.
Can I just say one more thing?
Go for it, Eileen.
I wasn't here the last couple of meetings, but I I did receive an email from Paul Dion, who used to be on this commission, and Paul was serving the town of Derry on this Conservation Commission for decades. He lent his skills and abilities and his passion to this town in a lot of different ways. And he's to be commended, I think, by all of us for what he gave to the town and how he helped shape and help us acquire a number of our existing conservation properties. I'm personally very proud of what he's done, and I'm really saddened by the fact that he chose not to continue on our commission, but I think we owe him a debt of gratitude for all he's done for this board.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree, yeah.
Yep, Paul welcomed me on the commission 15 years ago, and, he did leave for a while and come back, but he did a lot of good work. I'm disappointed he didn't stay also.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Wasn't for lack of trying to keep him on.
Right. But we're going to miss you, Paul, if you're listening.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion,
Move to,
move to non-public.
No.
Mr. Metz?
Yep. Move to go into non-public session per RSA 91A, semicolon 3, section 2, for the purpose of discussions about land acquisition.
So we need a roll call. We need a roll call for this. So let's get a second first. Yeah, so we have a second, and then we're going to roll call starting to my left. Eileen?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Eileen?
Grace,
I'm sorry.
yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Metz? Chair votes yes. Can I get a motion to invite the council liaison?
So moved.
So we have we have a motion on the floor to invite the council liaison to our non-public meeting by Mr. Metz. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Grace. We need a roll call again. Eileen?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
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 I'm not going to say it anymore. Chair votes yes. All right, we're non-public. Beth, you have to take off. Do you know what non-public is, Beth? Let me explain.